Okay, so today what I wanted to do was kind of take a look at a topic that has been coming up a lot over the past week, especially since people have seen the ending of the 4 remake and how it could maybe be teasing a future remake. The remake in question is Resident Evil 5, and I know that's already kind of thrown people into a frenzy saying that Resident Evil 5 shouldn't be remade before Code Veronica, and I have my own opinions on Code Veronica anyway, so I kind of disagree with that statement. But what I'm going to do is leave the scene on screen now to play out, and then we'll come back and talk about ideas and how it is a potential possibility that we'll see one next.
Patch me through. I've obtained the amber.
Excellent.
Just one question. What are you planning to do with this?
We do not pay you to ask questions. All you need to know is a new dawn is breaking. 100 will give their lives so that just one may live. I am expediting that change.
So, we're talking millions of casualties.
Billions.
How ambitious. We're changing course now.
And there you have it. So all that is basically Ada and Wesker having a conversation about the amber she's recovered and how he wants to use it to kind of lead into his plans, and his plans are very much seeming like the plans he has within the RE5 storyline. On top of that, obviously, if you look at the computer screens he's looking at, you can see Excella from Resident Evil 5, who is basically his assistant throughout most of the game. We can see the stairway to the sun area of the game with all the flowers that kind of are the origin of the progenitor virus. And of course, on the far right, we have Chris. I believe that's his Revelations 1 model, which is interesting. But either way, it's Chris. Now, it goes without saying, obviously, it might not even be a tease for a remake, because let's be honest, what's after Resident Evil 4 anyway? Resident Evil 5. So a leading cutscene would make sense, but at the same time, you're seeing Wesker remodeled, and you're seeing all these different references to points in RE5, and it does make sense that they would do it. If you take a look back at RE5 and the original RE4, they're very similar in terms of gameplay. Obviously, the main difference being it's a co-op game, which I do hope, if they do remake, stays that way, because I think that co-op experience is so much more fun compared to RE6, but that's just me. But they're very similar in terms of how they play, and yes, there are some goofy moments in RE5 as well, and I think they did a really good job with the remake of 4 to keep a lot of that stuff in, but tone down the massively ridiculous points of the game. So I see no reason why they couldn't give RE5 the same treatment. Maybe they will change it to a solo game. I hope that's not the case. I would prefer there to be a co-op option. One thing I will kind of mention now that kind of gives me an idea that RE4 may have been a testing ground for a 5 remake is the moments you have in the game where you have an AI companion who is fighting with you, kind of like how you have Luis in the mines. Definitely comes across to me as maybe like a testing ground for a Sheva AI companion. Going back to a previous kind of mention, obviously people do want to see a Code Veronica remake more than a 5 remake. I have to disagree with that. I think RE5 is one of my, not one of my favourite games anymore, but it's got the most good memories for me, playing it through with friends for the first time, a bunch of times, doing all kinds of runs with friends and stuff. It's just fun. Code Veronica, I played it through 3 times, didn't enjoy it once. I would give it the benefit of the doubt and say a remake with the kind of refurbished controls and stuff like that would make it better, but it just wasn't enjoyable in any kind of instance for me personally, but that's just me. I understand why people do like the game, but yeah, I honestly don't think it's going to happen before a 5 remake. Maybe a 6 remake, it would happen before, but I do not know about a 5 remake. I feel like they really want to try and get the mainstream games done first, and then if they want to, they can go back to that game. I know a lot of people consider Code Veronica as the actual Resident Evil 3, but, at the end of the day, it isn't, so there you go. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. I don't think we're going to hear anything official for a long time, but I do think that maybe they're teasing one. I would really like to see it. Let me know your thoughts on RE5 if you would want to see a remake, or if you do want to see a remake, what would you want to be changed compared to the original? Would you want it to stay a co-op game? Would you want it to be a single player game? Less action orientated? Whatever you think, let me know. Thank you all for coming by. I will see you in the next one.